food, energy, water nexus calls us to examine three of our most basic human needs for life and recognize the interconnections between the systems. With the use of systems thinking, we can find and optimize synergies between food, energy, and water, and tailor the way we go about using water and energy and producing food. This thinking will help us understand the interdependencies between the systems and tackle the trade-offs between the sectors. Most importantly, the Nexus assumes the goal of zero waste by upholding the fact that waste is just something that is at the wrong place at the wrong time. The Nexus views waste as a resource. It has the potential to not only be the output of a process, but the input of an entirely different process. Our traditional economic model is that of a linear economy that follows the cradle-to-grave design where you create something, use it, dispose of it, and it becomes waste. What we need to employ, however, is a circular economy which is designed to work from cradle to cradle so as to be regenerative. The most developed countries are the US, Canada, Australia, and Western European countries. The least developed countries are those in Africa and Southeast Asia, as well as the northern portion of South America. These countries, however, are the ones experiencing the greatest increases in population growth. This poses a major problem for the areas as they do not have the proper infrastructure or systems in place to be able to extract the resources they have and use them. Another problem we see is that the more developed and therefore wealthier nations use the most energy. They are found to have the highest environmental impacts. So what we see is a huge gap between the poor, less developed nations and the wealthier, more developed ones. It's estimated that 1/3 of the world's urban population today doesn't have access to adequate housing nor access to safe water and sanitation. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization estimates that approximately 800 million people, that's 1 in 9, suffer from undernourishment every day, and the majority live in developing countries. Here we see a breakdown of the 20 worst ranked countries by absolute composite environmental rank. The United States takes spot number 2, ranking first in fertilizer use, first in CO2 emissions, second for water pollution, and third for marine capture. We have 17 Sustainable Development Goals which countries around the globe will work to achieve. These will help us reduce inequalities and close the giant gap we have between the poor and the rich countries. Governments, businesses, and communities alike all have a part in the success of these goals. Approached with a Nexus perspective, these efforts will promote food, energy, and water security, as well as economic growth, environmental protection, and societal well-being. Here are a couple technologies that permit systems integration between food, energy, and water. We'll start off with a really important piece of the puzzle, the biodigester. A biodigester produces biogas via the anaerobic breakdown of organic materials such as food waste, manure, sewage, and vegetation. Biogas is a renewable energy composed of carbon dioxide and methane. It is carbon neutral, however, because the carbon emitted is from carbon that has been fixed by plants. Biogas can be used for heating, fuel, or for the production of electricity. It produces a byproduct fertilizer that can aid in food production. Next we have aquaponics, which is a combination of aquaculture and hydroponics. Fish and plants grow in a symbiotic environment where fish waste serves as nutrients for plants, and in turn plants filter the water for the fish. Why are some parts of the world experiencing water scarcity? We are overpumping when we need to be treating and reusing. We have a variety of non-potable as well as potable uses for recycled water. Energy crisis? We need to stop using non-renewables and polluting our environment and have renewables take over. What have I been doing? Growing food from scraps. Here I have a few plants to attract bees and butterflies. I used to have lychee trees here, but I cleared the area to start a new garden. Another project I have in mind is installing gutters on the backside of my house and creating a rainwater harvesting system to be able to water my gardens instead of turning on the sprinklers. Lastly, I had fun kickstarting the herb spiral garden.